Have Guilty Gear Strive put an end to Ghidorah players in a competitive standing? So, early this year, we did see Andrew Porat have some amazing runs with Ghidorah at Albuquerque, and one of the things that he was able to abuse was backups using cards such as Chronostasis Trigger to seal their opponent's characters because you could not block damage on attacks. This made it very difficult to deal with, and it allowed Ghidorah to have good matchups into characters that he was before having quite bad matchups into. It was a very cool strategy that not a lot of people saw coming, and then once you understood it, it was very hard to deal with. A lot of backup decks just couldn't deal with it. Now, fast forward to Guilty Gear Strive, and now Ghidorah is the one on the back heel from an attack that likes to seal. But the main issue is, he has no answers to it reliably. I'm of course talking about Megalomania, the SR from Guilty Gear Strive, the 5 difficulty, 3 control, 5 high for 5, that says if there are 3 or more sealed cards in your opponent's, if there are 3 or more sealed cards in play, your attacks get +1 speed, +1 damage, and blitz. Seal 1 card in your opponent's stage. They may discard 2 momentum to cancel this. So, this is a very powerful ability because you get to just seal Ghidorah. For those players who are new or not too familiar with Ghidorah, Ghidorah is a character that starts with 3 heads but only 10 health. So when you hit 0 health, you lose a head and you go back up to 10, essentially making them a 30 health character. But the best way to deal with Ghidorah is to seal him. Seal is an ability in Universus which removes all abilities from a card and says they can no longer gain abilities. So if you seal Ghidorah, they cannot use their ability to regain heads. This is a very important thing to take into account when it comes to things like Megalomania. If my opponent builds out as Ghidorah and I go into my first attack turn and I go Megalomania, chances are they don't have momentum. I go, your character's sealed. They go, they can no longer remove a card to go get the perfect block zone. If they don't have the block zones to stop me, I can just kill them. 2 attacks and they go down. Simple as. It is absolutely brutal. Ghidorah is a very good control character. It is a character that loves to play the field and loves to utilize its discard and remove from a play pile to have long drawn out games. But Megalomania just says no. And Ghidorah does have answers to this with things like Filled with Doubt and the ability to cancel blitzes. Yeah, you'd have to run cards like High Speed Dodge. Filled with Doubt is one that's already being run, but you'd have to it puts a lot of pressure on the Ghidorah player. If they do not have it, they need to aggressively mulligan for it. On top of that, it puts them in a position where they could lose heads early. They always need to have it. If you are constantly holding on to this Filled with Doubt so you can stop your opponent, seal, you're going down a card in hand, which is very dangerous, and 2, you're reducing your own hand size during your turns because you have to hold on to this action. You go from a 6-hander to a 5-hander, which can have some really negative impacts in the game. It's just a lot of pressure to put on a Ghidorah player who's already under a lot of pressure, having to utilize a character who taxes the mental load, making sure you play things perfectly. Control is very hard in this game because you need to have everything go right. And cards like Megalomania just say, you can have everything go right, but 1 card here that doesn't need to hit you, that doesn't need to actually do anything, it says you lose the game if you don't have momentum, if you don't have the out, is absolutely brutal. It's not the first card we've seen come along. We've seen it with Heroes Uprising, but Heroes Uprising had bigger conditions to fill. You needed your opponent to play the same ability on the same card twice before you could seal their character. Chronostasis Trigger into backups could do it, but then Ghidorah players don't often run backups. So you have to hit the Ghidorah player with the Chronostasis Trigger. The issue is there. Chronostasis trigger rotates in March, and because they're playing Ghidorah, they can just use their enhance to go get the perfect block zone and stop you from hitting, keeping Ghidorah alive, keeping them at their max power. So either way, it was tough. I have got the Ghidorah seal kill. I got it in Albuquerque. It's very satisfying to pop off, but this is a much more consistent way to be able to get it. And that is absolutely terrifying to see. A consistent way to seal your opponent's character, a consistent way to just go, you lose the game. I don't think we'll be seeing Ghidorah showing up at regionals or worlds anytime soon until they have a consistent answer to the seal, or unless we get a new Ghidorah in Reign of Kaiju, which has abilities that are a bit aware of it, which have abilities that are a bit stronger and do not rely on the character's ability so much to stay alive. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think Ghidorah is dead? Is this Fire Void non-attuned card that much of a threat to the Space Emperor? Or am I just blowing smoke and making a big issue out of a card which is probably not going to see as much play as I think it is? I'm very hyped on Megalomania, and I think Megalomania is going to see a lot more play than people give it credit for, because it just has that ability to turn off your opponent's character. It's absolutely solid. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and if there are any cards, combinations, and things from Guilty Gear that you think need highlighting, let me know, and I'll be sure to touch on them here. I will see you all at game night. For theories, news, or more, win, lose, or draw, I am Brett with Universus, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.